to Dr. D. We have our famous and phenomenal and beautiful Dr. Beckham here, who is sharing her story. She talked about imposter syndrome. She talked about what she overcame as of her literacy. And here it is. She's sitting here proud to let us know that you can overcome and that you can explore whatever you want to do. And guess what? You can accomplish it. And so she has another part of her story that she's going to share with us that I found was so profound, and just listening to her and just having conversations with her. And that is the level of autism. And here we go. We're going to talk about autism, and she's going to share with us and bring awareness to us as of autism, because I feel personally, this is just Dr. D saying, it should not just be brought up one time. It should be brought up all the time. So let's hear it. So we've had conversations about autism, and you have a son.
Yes.
Who has autism. So you make it look so easy because you've now overcome the literacy part. Completing your doctorate, never thinking that you would be where you are based on what you were.
Exactly.
And here it is now, this challenge with your son.
Right.
But it's a beautiful thing, though, because it brings out something of you that you never thought that you had. So let's share, tell our guests what's going on with autism.
Okay, well, there are a lot of statistics around autism that will blow your mind. 1 in every 66, and the numbers continue to increase, that end up with autism. Autism is not the same on every person. It looks different from person to person. So there's not a lot of research available. There's not a lot of treatment available. It's not something that you can test for in the womb. So you're just taking the chance that your child will be born okay.
Oh, wow.
And then as they're growing up, then they have developmental markers that they just don't meet. And then your pediatrician is able to track those markers in growth with the speech and the ability to use their fine motor skills. And when they don't meet those markers, then you get kind of like a flag that your child is possibly autistic.
Wow.
If your child isn't speaking, a certain amount of one-syllable words by the time they're 4, then they'll set a marker that this could be some sort of developmental delay. And then if they're not, picking up things and carrying things, if they're not able to hold, instruments in their hand, they set these markers in place. So we were able to determine that my son had autism very early. And you would think that early detection would help, but not in these particular cases.
Oh, wow.
Because because he had autism so long ago, because he's 23 now.
Okay.
They didn't have the resources that they have now. Now there are so many resources for autism. You just gotta get connected. If you have a child that you think in any way is developmentally delayed, bring that up to their pediatrician, bring that up to their educators, and let them know that you think that this is a possibility. And they may have already notated that there are markers present, and just you communicating that, your child can get tested. I went through the Marcus Autism Center, and I was referred there by his pediatrician.
Okay, good deal. So explain that and share with us because how did you recognize that with your son?
That's a good question. I actually didn't.
Okay.
My mother was in childcare.
Okay.
And she had just went to a seminar.
Oh, wow.
And she came home and she said, Salathia, I think he has autism. And I had heard of it because I saw the movie Rain Man.
Right.
So I was like, no, he's going to get it. Just give him some time. He'll come around. Give him some time. And what we don't know is a child has the most energized brain. So they're supposed to catch on really quick.
True.
So to say, oh, he's just not getting it, there is a fact you have to face that my child may have a developmental delay. And it has nothing to do with you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that there may be a couple of obstacles in their development.
Right. And that's very interesting how you said that you didn't even recognize it, but your mom, thank God for mamas.
Thank God.
Thank God for mamas, and share the memories if mama's no longer. But at the same time, you said no. And that was a stage too, because some parents may go through that denial to think that, hey, not my child.
Denial.
Yeah, not my child. No. They'll get it, But at the same time, you were willing to say, okay, let's get some help.
let's get some help.
You know, and that you said that now that it may have not been readily available then,
Right.
but here it is now. You're now being that advocate, you know, and that activist for autism, and being able to share that and bring awareness to the community to say, hey, this is what's out here, but you got to tap in and find out, because you got to do your part too, and tap in and find out where these resources are. And so you mentioned a center that you know.
I went through the Marcus Autism Center because I was referred there, and sometimes they do have a waiting list, but it's still best to get on it because they may have other resources and programs that you can utilize or that people can utilize until the slot comes available. They have so many different things. They really have dietary things about autism that helps them to adapt. So Autism Speaks is another great resource. They get you connected. And I think the biggest thing, especially for me with mothers, is having a support team. You know, and your support team might not be your family, because autism is not easy. That's the thing that people don't understand. People think, why aren't you taking care of your child this way? Or why aren't you doing this for your child? Because I don't understand it. I don't know what autism is. I don't know how to raise an autistic child, especially if it's your first child and you haven't been exposed to the autism community. So it is very important to speak out, to look at your child as, you know, not really comparing them to other children, but say, hey, you're supposed to be doing, ask your pediatrician, when are they supposed to be talking? When are they supposed to be walking? When are they supposed to be using their fine motor skills? And then if you see your child is kind of falling a little behind, don't let them lag. For the love of your child, don't let them lag. Say, I see a little something there. I want my pediatrician to take a further look at this. And if possible, let my child get tested.
I think that's very profound in what Dr. Beckham is stating, is that you don't know. And, you know, if you can't teach, you don't know. If you don't know, you can't teach. And so that was another obstacle that turned into opportunity, because though your son is enduring and he's overcoming, yes, he is, you're now bringing awareness to others, you know, about that. So now you look at it from what you didn't know, because I'm always bringing it back to what you know now. And then also it goes back to your major as of the societal norms and social norms of what we have in our society. And now as bringing a greater awareness, because now you're learning more about another phenomenon that's happening in our communities, you know, that's so often shunned. But at the same time, you're bringing that awareness. So you have, just listening to your story, Dr. Beckham, you have shifted in so many levels, you know, and it's just bringing so much awareness to that, you know, and I find it just very heroic. You know, we are super women in our own right. And so now you've gone through, you know, overcoming the so-called imposter syndrome, which she does not have. She's fronting. And then to, you know, accomplishing what you've done as of your thesis, what we say dissertation, thesis and dissertation, because master's dissertation, okay, we got that part. But we look at it, and now autism. And now I got to talk about the star, honey. She's an author. Yes, she is. She's an author. So tell us about this book, because, you know, now she's overcome autism with her son, but she's still going through that and still bringing awareness. But now she has a book. Tell us about this book, girl.
This is my baby.
Write the vision.
It's Write the Vision. This is my baby. Dr. Haney, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak about it and to give visibility to this workbook. There are a lot of people out there that do vision boards, right? And I'm going to try to speed through it because it's so much. Listen. Vision board is nothing but arts and crafts. If all you're going to do is put the pictures of what you want to do on a piece of cardboard and then put it in front of your bed, that's arts and crafts. This vision board workbook gives you steps to have laser focus on how to accomplish that thing. Because it's going to connect you to your thoughts. Because this is how I've learned it, right?
Talk to us. Tell us.
Come on now. You've already said you saw where I was. You saw where I am now. Not that it's dramatic, but it's dramatic for me. For the character that I was in the beginning of the story. To know that the next couple of chapters would produce this person. Never thought it in a million years. Like I said, it wasn't on my vision board. There are certain breadcrumbs that life will lead you. But if you go through life not paying attention to them, you'll forget about them. And then you'll get to a point in life for the people who aren't focused and driven like you are, ambitious like you are, people who go, well, what's my purpose? How many seminars you see a year on purpose, finding your purpose? If you were to sit back and actually look at your journey and see all the breadcrumbs that life has left you, you will be able to discover your purpose.
Yeah.
And that's what this workbook does.
Yeah.
It helps you to look and point out those breadcrumbs and
love
go,
it.
I remember that. I was good at art. I was good at with children. I was good at speaking. I was good at writing. Yes, breadcrumbs.
Yes.
And it teaches you
That's the
how
next
to
book,
put those, what I would do if I were you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it teaches, it brings all that awareness back to you. And it gives you step by step on how to zoom in what you really desire. And you start off with small steps. See, the problem with vision board is they tell you to put all these pictures on there.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain cannot process getting a house, getting a car, getting a husband, getting a spouse, getting your dream job,
Right.
you know, this brand new Maserati, this swimming pool, and it can't process all of them things, and that's disoriented. You know, our God is not the author of confusion.
Yeah.
That's a whole bunch of confusion, pretty arts and crafts.
Right.
But what you do is to get rid of the imposter syndrome, the limiting beliefs, the self-doubt. You start off with one thing at a time.
One thing.
And you hammer that nail until you can't hammer it no more. And what you will come up with is what you have set to achieve. You're going to accomplish that goal.
And it's so profound when you said, write the vision. Check it out, Habakkuk. Yeah. Y'all want to see it. But it says, write the vision and make it plain.
Make it plain.
Make it plain. Not all over the world.
Not all over the world.
Make it plain. You know? And I think that's very profound because what you write, it also often comes to fruition.
Yes.
You know, it's like when we were in school. You remember we were in elementary school, every time we come back from summer break, they have you write a journal.
Exactly.
And if you look back at that journal and the things that we had written back then,
Exactly.
it kind of brings back, like you said, the breadcrumbs.
Yes.
Because if we could find those journals at what we wrote,
Exactly.
somewhere along the lines, Miss Brown, my third grade teacher, would have said, you see what you wrote?
Exactly.
You know, look at the assemblies that we went to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never forget when I went to an assembly, I had to write a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And I was writing poems about a teddy bear. I never forget. You know, my dad came to see me at both assemblies. You know, it was a thing back then. Assemblies.
Yes, assemblies.
And you look at it, and here we are writing books.
Do they still do that?
Yeah, they still do them. They still do them.
Good.
You know, and so you look at it, it's like you said, that might be your next book, breadcrumbs.
Exactly.
You know? So you
Exactly.
look at that. So how did that come about with you writing that book, though?
Man, I was trying to find a planner because I had decided that I had made a decision in my life that, okay, I decided to go to school because of Christopher. He had autism.
Right.
So I said, look, I can't keep taking these days off work.
Right.
So I'm going to go to college. And while he's in school, I'm going to go to school.
Right.
And then I learned that I can't read.
Right.
College wasn't going that good. I was going
Yeah.
to quit, but I was like, no, I need some money.
Yeah.
So I started going to school. I started working in school and I started getting some money. And then I got to a point and I was like, I need to get my life together.
Yeah.
Because I was around. See, this is the thing. I put myself around professional people.
You just said that earlier.
Did not look like where I came from. And it made me long for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how come Dr. Haney looks so smooth and so polished? I can't be like that. Yes, I can.
Yes, you are.
So therefore, I started surrounding myself by a different crowd.
Yeah.
I moved, changed my location, changed my environment. And then I said, I need to get myself together.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to get a planner and they were all $50.
No.
So I was looking through them. It sounded like the voice of God said, write your own. And I was like, what? I can write my own? They're like, yes, you can. I want you to look on the inside, take a picture of every page, and then go home and write your own. I was familiar with Canvas, Create Space, stuff like that. So I was like, PowerPoint, I can put a little something together. And then it started developing. And then my kids started asking me, Mom, what are you doing? I was like, I'm doing a planner. And they wanted to copy pages out of it. So they copied pages. I had a friend who copied pages. I was like, wait a minute. They actually like this idea. So after that, I went to Oprah Winfrey's Change Your Life seminar. And she gave everybody a book because I was like in the fourth row from the stage.
Okay.
She gave everybody this book. It wasn't a planner though. And that's what mine was, in a planner. And it was a workbook to ask you questions about what do you define as success?
Oh my God.
What do you see as one objective? What do you see as your hindering beliefs? And here I am.
Boom. Here it is. Let me see this book. And y'all look how thick it is. What? And it's got some such doctor. Nobody put all this in a planner. But that's awesome. And when she brought it out, when she told us about it and she mentioned it, I was so excited. I was like, girl, you did this. And she's like, well, I don't do it. And I'm like, you better sell this book and do what you ever do and bless somebody. I mean, really, but you know, let me tell you, this guest room episode here has been awesome. You see how we just have conversation here on this show here?
I love her.
And she's sharing her story of how her obstacles became opportunities. And look at her now, because of what she thought was self-defeat turned into success for her. Your success looks different in every aspect of what you do. You can always look at her as inspiration and say, I can do it too. Regardless of what life tries to throw at you, just know that you can succeed. So we thank you, Dr. Beckham, for being here on the guest room with Dr. D.
Thank you.
So excited. Finally got it here. But again, thank you, guests, for tuning in to the guest room with Dr. D, where we have authentic conversations where authenticity is truly our identity here. And we want to say thank you. But before we leave, I need you to go ahead and subscribe, like, share, and comment. And I'll see you in the next episode. Hello, everyone. It's Dr. D here. I want to let you in on something. Not only am I an online talk show podcast host, I am also an author. Yes, I am an author of my very first book, Cage in a Cubicle: Spiritual Lessons. This book talks about my journey in corporate America, as well as learning the lessons along the way. Sometimes you think that being caged in a cubicle is a bad thing, but it's actually protection. And so along the way, I wrote out my lessons in a journal, and it evolved into a dissertation when I was in school, yes, but it also evolved even more so in me writing this book. So I share with you my journey as I sat in a cage in a cubicle, spiritual lessons that came along with that. And I want you all to be able to share the experiences that I went through, and perhaps you may have gone through it, or perhaps you're going through it, but it will be some spiritual lessons that you all can learn from as well. How you can purchase this book? Head over to Amazon and you can purchase the book there. Again, I thank you in advance for your support and your purchase from your girl, Dr. D, with Cage in a Cubicle: Spiritual Lessons.